Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. If you've been watching it at all, you've been seeing I've been doing a lot of work with the tractor, pulling roots, using that root ripper and the grapple, really kind of stressing out the tractor, and I'm paying a price for it now. So right here is where the boom connects to the tractor, and you can see it's split wide open. And furthermore, the pin, or the pin bushing, is cracking away from the actual boom arm. You can see it's bent pretty bad, and it's cracked really bad up in here. That's on both sides. I haven't cleaned the paint off of this side yet, but you can see the cracking on both sides. So this is a Mahindra ML161 loader, and probably for 4 years now, I've had the tractor for 5, but for about 4 years I've been complaining that the bucket doesn't, sit level to the ground. So when I'm trying to dig, it's about an inch, maybe an inch and a half lower on the left side. So as you dig, it keeps getting lower and lower, and then the back tires drop in and it gets even worse. So it's really hard to dig a level trench or hole or do any kind of level work because the bucket's offset. And I still think that has something to do with the boom arms. You can actually see it here where you can see the farther boom arm above the closer boom arm right there. But then on this side, you can't. So that tells me that they're just a smidge uneven. Like the farther boom arm is like this in comparison. So that would explain the difference in level of the bucket touching the ground. Even if it's only a 1/4 inch off at the mounting point, because of how much further the reach is out front, it's accentuated. It's much more dramatic the further away from the fulcrum you get. So that explains that. I know a lot of my pins are getting worn out. These main pins here and here, they're a little bit wiggly, but I took out all 8 down at the bucket, and really they weren't that bad. One of them was worn maybe a 32nd, maybe a millimeter at the most off, and you could even see that in the joint. Not too bad, I'm not too worried about that. But anyway, I got to cleaning the other day, and I did a full wash on the whole tractor, a oil change, a hydraulic filter change, and when I pulled the hydraulic filter, I noticed that the fluid looked a little bit burnt, maybe a goldish, dark gold color versus a clear gold color. So I drained all 11 plus gallons out, I refilled the whole thing. It definitely drives smoother now. The pump isn't screaming as much, but for the past 4 years, I've been working this tractor really, really hard. Up until a couple months ago, I've been using the grapple to pull trees, smaller trees, 6 inch or smaller on average. And I kind of dig at the roots on either side, and I know that puts a lot of twisting moment on the boom, and that's probably where part of this twist came from in the boom itself. But since I've been using the root ripper, I've really been working the hydraulics, and if you haven't seen it, the other video where I'm using the root ripper, you can hear that hydraulic pump just screaming. I'm basically maxing out the capability of the tractor, and this is the price I'm paying for that. Fortunately, this is all it is. I think I can fix this without too much trouble. All right, so this bushing is just welded on. The tube material, well, it's really just C material joined together. It's 2 pieces joined together. It's only about 1/8 inch thick. The bushing, this heavy duty bushing, is welded on the outside, and then it's got one little, maybe 1 inch bead of weld on the inside. But it's cracked along the outside of the weld all the way around, at least on this side, up to about right here. So from here to here, it's cracked. It's also cracked on the inside up almost to the very edge. Same thing on this side. It actually is cracked all the way out to the edge. And again, all the way around the bushing on this side. I'm gonna try to straighten these side pieces back out, bend this part back in, square all of this back up. Once all that's done, I'll go ahead and groove out where these cracks are, weld it back together, and fortunately fitting in the bracket, I have at least out to the edge of this bushing for space. So I can fill this in quite a bit before it protrudes further than the original bushing. I'm gonna have to do that to both sides. I'm thinking I might also put a reinforcing bar, just like maybe some 1/4 inch flat, or a bar, square stock, 1/4 inch square stock, solid, right on the inner edge here. We'll see how that turns out. I was thinking I'd like to go all the way around, but these two pieces of channel are in the way. It's what it is, you know, you got to deal with the cards you got, and I need the tractor. I got too many projects piling up right now, so this is priority number one here at the homestead. Got to get this thing usable again without, you know, damaging it anymore. And while I have it off, I might see if I can't stick something in between these two booms, boom arms, to tweak it back to where this one's sitting a little higher or that one's sitting a little lower. I don't know. It's just enough to where it's irritating. I can still use the tractor, but even using the forks, you know, I go to pick up a pallet and one fork. Now, one fork is actually bent, but trying to pick up pallets, because it's uneven, it makes it kind of a pain in the butt. All right, so let's get after it. All right, so I pretty much got it straightened out. Everything's looking pretty good now. Still got a little bit of a gap right here where this metal is a little deeper than that. But I'm gonna groove that out and fill it all back in. This side's pretty much the same thing. You can see a little bit right here where the side metal is sticking out, or inset just a little. It looks like this part's dented in just a smidge compared to where it should be, but that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and groove all this out now. Same thing with this corner here, both corners. And on this side, then fill it all in. All right, so I spent the last hour cleaning these up. Turned out pretty good. Used a cut-off wheel to get the main groove cut out, and then I used a carbide burr to smooth it out and really get a good radius in there. You can see it turned out pretty good. I got all the way around on both sides, inside and outside. Well, inside here. Sorry, inside here, outside here. So both sides are done. And now we're gonna start welding. So I gotta get these undersides too, so I'll weld those up as I go. So first I just tack up all the ends of the cracks so that the thing doesn't peel open on me. Okay, so it's been, I don't know, like 3-4 hours. I didn't like my first welds. I was kind of embarrassed. I ground them down, cleaned it all back up, laid down some new welds. I didn't like the undercut from the first weld. Anyway, all the welds look good now. I cleaned it all up. It's ready for paint. Let's get a little closer look. All right, so here's one side. I had to put a single small bead around the outside so that I didn't get an undercut right at the edge. But it worked out really, really good. And now on the inside, I put a bead along this inner edge here. I was thinking about putting some, you know, like I said earlier, maybe some 1/4-inch square stock or something, but I just ran a bead along that inside. That should make it significantly stronger. We got the underside here, beaded up on both sides. All right, so then on the inside here, I threw a couple extra beads. They started off with just one bead right on the edge. I doubled that up and I threw another one on the top and on the bottom. And I also threw beads on the inside of the corners all the way around, just to add that little bit of extra protection against it actually splitting on me, because it always starts at the corners. That's a guarantee there. So all 4 corners now have beads. Same thing on both sides. I don't know what the deal with my autofocus is. Anyway, all 4 corners, again, same thing with the outside corners. The outside themselves, I think turned out really well after grinding it down. That's my fault. I tried getting in a rush and welding without being in a good position, and I was, you know, probably like 3/4 inch away and the stick out was too far, but this definitely turned out much, much better this time. I'm really happy with it, and I think, I mean, there's gonna be somewhere on this whole thing that ends up breaking before this end section now. And gonna get the kiddo out here. We're gonna do a little painting, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. All right, here we go. All the cracks are cleaned up. I put an extra bead in here. Basically what I showed you yesterday. I had the kid come out here and help paint last night. Paint job turned out pretty good, I think. I didn't have any of the red, and since the tractor is red and black, I figured that would be just fine. So the underside, both of those little beads going along the corners look good. The splits that were right here and here are all welded up, a little bit extra on the inside, and I put a few extra tacks up on the insides. Tough to see with the black, I know, but all right, so that's basically it. I think it should work just fine. I'm still going to pull and clean these front pins. I've done 12 pins now, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 8 on the bucket, so only got 4 left. And honestly, so far there was only 1 pin that really looked bad, and I've got a couple more on order anyway. I think it's going to work just fine. I'm not going to worry about trying to level that out. There's really no way for me to get the kind of leverage I need to put a twist on it while it's off the tractor. I think the only way to do that is to put it back on the tractor and try to wedge the bucket in something, or I don't know, something like that. Try to tweak it a little bit back the other direction. But hopefully that helped. Hey, I appreciate y'all checking in. Please hit that like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next video. Hey, to wrap it up, I've never put the bucket back on before, or the boom. Just now took it off for the first time ever. Let's try it. Let's relieve the pressure. It's this one. Okay, all those look good. That is out of the way. Well, that was surprisingly easy. Thanks for watching. See y'all later.